today's video. Today's one is for Tonic Showcase number 36, which is the ribbon and key gift box. And you can see all of the gorgeous patterned panel dies and all of the pieces that are used to create this box. But you might be wondering, what on earth is a ribbon key box? It's really clever actually. It's this beautiful little cube gift box that has this key that holds the two sides together at the top, and the idea is you take this key out and then when you open the box, these ribbons that are attached to it lift. There's a compartment on the inside and the ribbons extend and lift that compartment up, and then if this has a gift in it, it's going to be heavy, so you actually take your key and push it through from one side to the other through these little slits. Mine doesn't actually stay in very well, this one in particular, because I tied a bit of ribbon on there, so maybe don't tie a bit of ribbon on there and it'll stay in perfectly. My other one stays in much better because it can go in further because the ribbon's not in the way, but it's really clever the way it opens, and then this box is now supported by the key that is in there, and then when you want to close the box again, you just pull your key out, the ribbons loosen and then the box goes down on the inside, and then you just push these two ribbons back under, push it back together, and then you've got the little key that fastens it on the top. It is such a clever design. This one I kept really simple. I thought it kind of looks like a little Christmas present underneath a Christmas tree, so you know, thinking ahead to Christmas, this might be a nice little gift idea, but also you can go more with the decorative panels, and I turned this one into green and turquoise and then a navy blue, and I really like this colour combination. It reminds me very sort of like seaweedy and underwater, so you could even combine mermaids and things with this as well if you wanted to. I mean, any colour combination you go for could make you think of a different kind of character to go with it if you want to combine like a stamp club or something with them. But they're so clever, and the way the key comes out and then you open the two pieces. If I show you on this one, I did them out of different colours, so I don't know if you can see, the box on the inside is actually navy blue, and then the inside of the box is green, but when I pull it open you can see it rising, and then you have the box at the top, and then when you don't tie a ribbon on this key, it works really nicely and goes all the way through and pokes out the other side and really supports that box that's in there. So really clever. I really like this. I wasn't sure what it was going to be when I heard the name ribbon and key box. I saw the key as part of the design, but I was kind of like, I wonder how this is sort of going to work. And I was thinking, why is the ribbon there? Like, I didn't understand what the ribbon was supposed to do, but then when I started to put it together, I was like, oh, it makes that level come up, which is just really clever. And it's a really gorgeous, lovely little compact box as well. It's about 3 inches as a cube. I don't know if it is actually quite a cube. No, it is. Maybe the height is slightly different then, because one of the height's a tiny bit different because this panel's not actually quite square, it's a tiny bit rectangular, but yeah, really decent size little box, kind of like a Rubik's Cube sort of size. It's that kind of a size, so really gorgeous. And then all of the dies that you get to create this are here. I haven't done a construction video because you do get full instructions inside the packaging, and that's what I followed to make mine, and they are pretty simple. I was just looking at the pictures, so I'm not sure what the writing says, but I was just looking at the pictures and I managed to work out how to do it from that, so they are really easy to follow. So to create this whole box mechanism, I'll run you through which pieces are for which section. So obviously the key is this gorgeous die here, and you actually cut that 4 times and layer them up together to get a really sturdy key. And I recommend, instead of cutting 4 separately, cut 2 lots of 2, because if you cut 2 pieces of card together, you get a better embossed impression from this embossing part of the die. And if you need 4, if you cut 2 lots of 2, you'll get the 2 really good impression ones on the outsides, and then you can stick the other 2 in the middle, and then no one will know, but you'll get that better embossed impression. You could also try mirror card as well. I think these kind of dies do emboss even more into mirror card as well, and if you are going with your texture craft perfect, then deboss it onto the smooth side of the card and you'll get a better impression that way as well. But that is the key die. Then, if you look at the box, you have this sort of side piece here, and this is the die that creates that side piece. So you need 2 of these to create your box. This folds up with this piece and gives you this section here, so that is that section. And then this piece is a glue tab that sticks along the bottom, and I also cut an extra white square for mine to hide where those 2 little glue tabs are on either end of that. But that is how you create this portion. So you need 2 of those for your box. Then let's look on the inside of the box. So that little, oh, I did do this one in 2 different colours as well, so you can see it inside this one as well. But that little platform that raises up with the ribbons, you actually need 2 of this die to create that, and you can see you've got the slits there for the ribbons to be attached to, and you cut 2 of these, twist them round so the bases match up, and you get the 4 sides on all 4 sides of the box. And then you also need 2 of this die, and you have one on each of the opposite sides that have this little slit on there. You thread your ribbon through there, stick it down here, and then you put another one of these over the top, this gorgeous little decorative panel or solid panel that fits perfectly over the top of that, and it hides where you've stuck your ribbon in there. And it also, like, you know, you've then stuck cardstock both sides of the ribbon, so it's going to keep it really sturdily in place. So that's how you secure the ribbon to that inside box, that's the one that raises up and down. And that's the die that you need to create that. Then you have this main section of the box here that has this circle aperture on the top. It has a square base, and then it has the 4 sides. All 4 sides have the slit in, but you do actually only need the slit on 2 of the sides. But all 4 sides do have the slit in them, so that we could just get away with having the 1 die to cut the side pieces out of. Although you could get away with putting the key in this way anyway, so you can put the key in whichever direction you want to. So you have the option to go from the running the same way as the ribbons or running opposite as well, which is nice. And to create that main box, you need this die, which is your base, so that gives you your sort of square base to your box. And then you need 4 of this die, which has these corner pieces on here which allow you to attach this circle topper piece on there. So you need 4 of those. You stick 1 to each side of this base piece, so you stick them with those glue tabs onto the base piece. So these pieces are at the top, these glue tabs stick to the other panels going all the way around this square piece, and then when you get to that top portion, you fold in these triangle glue tabs. You do one way, one the other way, stick them together to create a little corner, and then you use this die over the top to add your actual opening on there as well. And when I made mine, I cut 2 of these, and I actually did the cheats way of cutting 2 of them together so that the top one had a really good emboss or deboss onto it, and then the one that wasn't quite so good, I actually put tape along the top of it and stuck it underneath those 4 corners, and then I took the proper one and stuck it over the top of that. So those little corner triangles are actually sandwiched between 2 of those to make it stronger as well. So that's the die for that. And then the top locking mechanism of this box, you also need some different dies for as well. So there's a couple of dies that actually create this kind of mechanism where the key can fit through. So there's a way of locking the box again afterwards. You've actually got that little mechanism that fits perfectly through there, the little key. And the dies you need for this are this rectangle, which is the slightly larger one and doesn't have the slit in. The slit is for the inside box. The one without the slit and the slightly larger one is the ones you use to decorate the top of the box. And then you also have this die, which has this sort of portion, 2 score lines, a little bit in the middle, 2 score lines, and the same portion mirrored on the other side. And the idea behind this die is it's the same height as this rectangle, but it's slightly longer to accommodate for these score lines that are on here. So when you take this piece and you score or fold these score lines, this middle section is going to go up, and that's what the key is going to slide into. So basically you're going to take the 2 inner score lines and you're going to do mountain folds, and then you're going to do the 2 outer score lines and do valley folds, so that the little piece pops up in the middle. And when you've folded that like that, this piece will then fit absolutely perfectly onto this rectangle, so that you can place the rectangle on the top of the box, you place the folded piece on that way, and then you get this little raised up little section that key will perfectly fit through to hold the box shut. So that's how you create that top portion of the box. And then the rest of the die set is all of the gorgeous decorative elements. So we have a gift tag, a gorgeous circular gift tag with the hole on the top and stitching around the perimeter. And then you've got 3 different sentiments that you can use in there. So this one says key to your heart, which goes with the key of the key and the ribbon and key box. Then you also have from me to you, which is a great sentiment just to have, great on your cards as well, from me to you. And then you also have a debossing love die as well. So it says love and it debosses in with the stitching around the edge as well. And I've actually used all of those sentiments on the cards that I'll show you later too, to kind of go along. They don't technically match the boxes, but they are part of my tutorial video, which is all about debossing your dies. So the next pieces are this main portion that decorates the 2 outside panels, and you can see what I mean here about it's not quite square. If I hold it this way, it goes right up to those edges, but if I twist it this way, there's a little bit of a difference, so it's not quite square, it's slightly rectangular. So this goes in a landscape orientation for the shape of that slightly rectangular panel. And you've got 2 different designs that you can put on this. You've got this beautiful flourishy swirly kind of design, which again, these make perfect toppers for your cards, for a shaker card, for this debossing tutorial that's going to be up tomorrow as well, for paper piecing, all sorts of different things that you can do with these beautiful dies. But that's the one. And then the other one is much more intricate. It's got a lot more detail in it. It's got a beautiful sunflower, some gorgeous vines and foliage, and then this gorgeous, reminds me of those kind of almost like breeze block style stone things with the holes in that some people have as like little wall dividers in their gardens and stuff. It really reminds me of that kind of look. I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but yeah, really gorgeous sort of pattern in the background. So those are the 2 main panels. And then you have the 2 solid pieces to decorate this portion of the box. So you can just use your, this is a foiled craft card, you can use that to decorate, or you can use pattern papers, but you also have the decorative panels to go inside of these as well. So you have both of the ones for that beautiful flourishy design, and you can see actually if you put them together like that, you can create almost like a shield, or up the other way a church window kind of look as well. So you can do all sorts of different ideas with those, but beautiful flourishy designs that match the big square version. And then you also have the designs that match the gorgeous sunflower version, so lots of that gorgeous trellisy kind of pattern with a little bit of foliage and vines in there as well. So if you're colouring in these panels to make them look beautiful with that sunflower, you can also bring some of the colour around to the side of it as well. So you've got those 2. Then, when this box goes together, you also have a panel to go here on the inside box, so that it gives a little bit of pattern on this outside area here. And you have this one, I think is the one that's supposed to go with the flourishy kind of design. It's got a little bit of a flourishy sort of feel to it, but if you didn't like that one in conjunction with the flourish, you do also have the solid one, so you can just use the solid one by itself, or you can use the solid one to cut a solid one to go behind the intricate one as well. And then you do also have the one that matches the trellisy pattern from the sunflower panel too, so you can use that one as well, which I used on my green and blue and teal box. It looks really pretty down there. Then for the top of the box, so going across here, you have these pieces that can decorate this piece. So obviously you have the solid versions of all of these. You've got both handedness of those, and then you have this one with the slight curvature to go in the central section. Then the other, I didn't say that on these ones, the 2 of these that actually have the cut line on the outside, which is fantastic because it saves you having to tape the 2 dies together, so I love that. And they've done the same thing with all of these extra dies as well for the decoration. So you've got the handedness of those 2, and then you've got the little slightly curved one, which is more of the flourishy kind of design. So you've got all of those that go together, and they've already got the cut line on the outside of them, which is fantastic. And if you want to back them with a solid colour, you've got the solid ones to cut them out. And then finally, the last decorative ones are the gorgeous trellis pattern. And again, you've got the 2 handedness of each other, and then the slightly curved sort of rectangular one as well, that you can use to decorate the top of your box. And I actually use those ones on this one. So those are all of the dies. I will put all of these away so I don't lose them, and then I'll come back and show you all of the samples that I've done as well. Okay, so sample-wise, I've got these two finished boxes that I've already briefly shown you earlier. So I did a really simple one, made it out of white and red cardstock, and then used that gorgeous red foiled craft card. And then you've got that gorgeous mechanism of how that box goes up and down. Sometimes you need to push it, but if it's got a gift in there, the weight of the gift is going to push it back down again. And then the idea is, obviously when it's empty, when you open it, the box is just going to stay up there because it's empty. But when you are, when you've got a gift in there, I'm just seeing if you can put the key in this way. When you've got a gift in there, you are going to want to put that key underneath it to help hold the box up. You've got the support of the little key underneath then to hold the gift up. But obviously once it's empty, it just stays up by itself because it's such a light little box there. But yeah, really, really clever design. And actually when you are wanting to put your ribbon on, it does show you in the instructions, but I thought I would just mention or like show you how I put the ribbon on. So what I did is we've already attached it to the box on the inside. We threaded it out these sections and we've added this central top piece on. Then you don't put these pieces on yet. You actually stick the ribbon underneath those pieces to make it nice and secure. And the way I did it was I took a couple of pieces of red liner tape, run them across here, and then you can pull your ribbon out, stick it, and then test it and see how well you think it's working. And if it's not quite right, maybe you've left too much ribbon, not enough ribbon, you can just alter it on the red liner tape and then just make sure, eyeballing it, that it's about the same on both sides. And that's a really easy way of doing it. And then once you get it in the right position, really press it firmly into place, snip off the excess, and then stick these panels over the top, and then you'll get the perfect length of ribbon for your box as well. So that's the really simple version, which I think looks nice and Christmassy. And then for the slightly more elaborate version, I've used all those beautiful decorative panels, and I've also used Key to Your Heart on both sides of it. And then for this, I've actually stuck them on opposite sides of the box, but only on half. So I just put a little bit of foam tape behind half of the circle so that they both go, when they go the right ways, they both go back together like that. And I've used all of the decorative panels to decorate this one. Really, really pretty. I think it looks fantastic when it's completely decorated. And I feel like going for a slightly more like monochrome kind of look, you know, going for turquoises and greens and stuff that are all next to each other on the colour wheel, gives it a slightly more of a masculine kind of look as well. If you do struggle with masculine kind of colour schemes, I find that kind of helps. I feel like if you bring in mirror card and really opposing kind of colours, it can give it a little bit more of a feminine sort of look. I don't know if you've really noticed that when you've made things, but yeah, any sort of tips for masculine makes I think are really helpful, because I know a lot of people struggle with them. But yeah, that is what the actual box looks like, and that's what all of the dies create. However, obviously I made cards with it, so I've actually got 6 cards to show you, and tomorrow's tutorial video is going to be how to deboss your dies to create backgrounds, or to create your focal element, or to do a quilted kind of look on your cards. And I've done 2 different versions, so I'm showing in the video how you can use your white plate, your green plate, and your green mat from your Tangerine and get a really deep impression. However, you do get cracks, you get some cutting through, and some people might not like that. So an alternative way of doing it is to use your white plate, your green plate, and a piece of Greyboard instead of the squidgy green mat, and then you get a much shallower kind of impression on there as well, and you can see the difference in the back of them as to what kind of effect that sort of gives. And then I've done multiple samples here to kind of show you different ways of doing this. So the 2 that I actually make from start to finish in the tutorial video are these 2. So if you want to see those 2 being made, you can watch the tutorial video tomorrow. And I sort of show how you can, this was actually an experiment. This is that frame piece that goes on top of the box. I was experimenting because I wasn't sure if you put the tan or the green mat on, whether there'd be too much pressure and it would just cut it out rather than just embossing it into the cardstock, but it worked really well. So that's definitely a good one for trying with this kind of technique. So you're debossing a debossing die, if that makes any sense, rather than, you know, just cutting it and you get the cut outline with the debossed impression. You're debossing with a debossing die, so it stays in the cardstock, and it gives a really cool look. and that is the finished card. I said in the tutorial video that you'll see the finished card in this video. And then the other one, I was going for a slightly more artsy kind of look. We debossed the sunflower panel into the card, and then we used mousses to kind of put the colours specifically in areas. This one was really mixing up the colours, but this one was putting them in specific areas. And then I was being a bit artsy with using a paintbrush and adding some scribbles and splatters and stuff outside of it. And I finished it off with a thank you sentiment. And it's also, the tutorial's also showing you the difference between leaving the die just debossed or debossing the die, doing something to that debossed impression, and then putting a die cut over the top as well. So it kind of shows a difference in that. And then also a difference between using Nuvo products like your mousses or just using your alcohol pens. You can get completely different looks. Obviously the colours have made it look completely different, but you know, this is the deeper impression, this is the shallower impression, so they make a difference as well. And then also what colours you use, and also the mediums that you use as well. You can get a really clean finish with using your alcohol pens, or you can go really artsy with your mousses as well. So whatever kind of idea or card you're after, you can use this technique to do that. And then the three that I initially made that made me think of this kind of tutorial to do were these three here. I'll tell you all the mousse colours actually, I do say this in the tutorial video. But I ended up using expanding mousses because they were on the top of my box, and I just was really drawn to this colour combination. So I was using Bramley apple, cactus green, mustard seed and iced aqua as my colours, and then I used copper penny as the Nuvo drop on there as well. But this was my initial three different project, using the deeper impression, using the green tan matte to give this kind of more cushioned quilted sort of a look. And I think the quilting description of this technique is when you do this debossing and then you replace the die over the top. So this one is technically the quilted kind of impression, and this one gives you that quilted sort of look, but we haven't put the die back over the top, we've actually put the aperture die offset around it, and I think that gives a really lovely look to it. Then this was the lesser impression just in the background, and you can see the kind of like the difference of like depth to that impression and the difference you get when you put your mousses on. I've also shown all over mousse and doing a little bit more artsy kind of edges to the mousse as well. And then I also did this card, which was using a couple of the other smaller panels to do the debossing, and I also debossed the sentiment on there as well. And you can see it doesn't give like a dramatic effect when you're just using the Greyboard, it just gives a really subtle effect, but you know that you've done something to it. It doesn't just look like the sentiment is stuck onto the card, it looks like you've done something to it as well. So those are all of the cards that I created. I wasn't actually expecting to do 6 cards, but I do really quite like the way they all turned out. I think they give a nice different kind of effect for ways of using some of the dies from this showcase as well. So I hope you enjoyed this up close video looking at Tonic Showcase number 36, which is the ribbon and key gift box die set, which creates this fantastic little gift box with that gorgeous key mechanism with the platform that lifts up. You can put the key inside to hold it in position, and it's just a really lovely dinky cube of a gift box that's got a really fancy and different kind of technique or mechanism to it as well. Sorry if you can hear Pumpkin woofing in the background, she obviously needs to go in the garden, so I will finish this video off and go and let her in the garden. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you want to get hold of Tonic Showcase number 36, there will be affiliate links in the description box below the video and also on my blog post as well, and I really appreciate you taking the time to use them. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!